Welcome everybody to Wrestlers Pit. I'm Nick. With me is B.
With your boy, B.
And today we're going to talk about
How
some
you doing?
King of the Ring.
Yeah, let's get into it. Glad to see it back. Doesn't have to be a pay-per-view, but a worthy
Worthy contenders.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of talent here. A lot of good matchups I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
to see. Fresh. Yeah, I wouldn't say like fresh, but you have a chance to see some like
top tier matches on Raw and SmackDown for the next, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I
I
believe?
think we got 3, right?
3 weeks? Yes, 3 weeks. So the next 3 Raws and SmackDowns are going to have matches for the King of the Ring tournament. And there's 8 superstars on each side. And obviously we're going to go through the talent right now. And it's some pretty solid matchups. So first up for the Raw side, we have Cesaro versus Samoa Joe, Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre, Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn, and The Miz versus Baron Corbin. Well, let's just kick it right off with Cesaro versus Samoa Joe. That's going to be a match.
That's gonna be a hell. Hopefully it starts off. I wonder, but I love that matchup in general. Cesaro and Joe. They say Heyman's high on Cesaro. Samoa Joe kind of would hate
He's a
him, the
beast.
fans and stuff. So I can see Cesaro actually beating him here, and him. I hate saying I see everyone like costing everyone these matchups.
I know, right?
You know?
Like all like the storylines that they're in, like Roman cost Joe the match, and like
Or even not. Just I think say Cesaro wins fairly, but he'll like Joe will blame the fans or something.
yeah. Oh, that actually makes sense of like the whole thing. That he still doesn't forgive the fans. He's still dying over there.
How you doing?
Woo. But
Welcome
yeah.
back.
So who do you think? So you think Cesaro should move on for like that first match? Because that's what I think.
Thinking
That's
about it today,
personally-
I think he takes that. I think he wins that matchup today.
Yeah, I personally think Cesaro probably wins the whole tournament. Like I love
I
me
know
some
that's
Cesaro.
your pick, right?
Yeah, that's my pick for the whole tournament.
So then you would have for the next matchup, Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre. Who you going with here?
Probably gonna have to go with Drew McIntyre. I like the heels in this tournament. I don't know why. I really like, but obviously I'm not sure if Cesaro versus Drew. That's gonna be a good match when it happens. But I'm not sure if that's something that they want to do because they're both heels.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still gonna go with Drew McIntyre because I think Drew should at least win the first match. If not,
I know. I think
I wish he wasn't in that spot, though.
that's my winner. I think for the whole thing, but it's weird. I mean, it's not weird. I think both of our picks going against each other in the second round makes it seem like,
Yeah.
one of us is wrong.
One of us
clearly.
will be wrong, and
we-
we'll know that we're wrong at least by week 2.
But because I do see Drew versus Andrade for the final. Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn. And I feel like Cedric has to win this one,
Yeah, I
right?
think Cedric continues his push, but I wouldn't hate it if it was like, because looking at the ladder, who winner of, the Miz and Corbin, Sammy and the Miz, but I can see Dolph getting involved in that Miz and Corbin match.
Yeah, and kind of
So-
costing it for him.
So not to jump ahead, Corbin wins against the Miz, I think. Yeah. So Cedric, I take Cedric over Sammy. I think
Yeah.
Sammy must have. I think maybe they really given. They're burying him for.
Yeah,
There-
he
he-
pissed in someone's Cheerios or
Yeah,
something like that.
and
Like,
it's fine. He's just that's how he's being used. So see Cedric going over on him.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Miz versus Baron Corbin. Kind of already got to this.
Yeah, I
You
think,
have Baron. I have Baron as well. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of like the right option.
Now you think, like I said, I see people interfering. I think Dolph interferes here,
Yeah.
and that will set up a Baron versus Cedric Alexander match.
I would love it if Dolph interfered and then Baron Corbin hits him with like the end of days a couple of times, and then Miz gets up after the match and hits him with like skull crusher. Just like everybody's just beating down Dolph,
Continue to beat up Dolph.
even though
Damn.
he just won Baron the match, he still beats down Dolph.
Damn.
Like everyone's just like he just wants to leave. That's all Dolph wants to do. He just wants to leave the company, and they're like, "Nah, you're staying." But so that's what we got for the first round of Raw. I'm gonna keep that in mind as we move on to the first round of the SmackDown side. And we got for the first match Kevin Owens versus Elias. Who you got and why? It's a tough one because it's kind of like
Well, Elias is the 24/7 champion too.
very true, very true.
Match is interesting.
Kevin Owens still hasn't gotten rid of Shane McMahon.
I know. So Shane's still in the picture. If Shane wasn't in the picture, I'd say KO easily, and it's against like Shane's boy. So.
Yep.
But.
It's a hard one.
You know, I think Elias wins because unless you're, you know, it's also. If I had to pick someone else though too, like the other part of me wants to be like, hey. This gimmick of KO very reminds you of Stone Cold a little bit.
Yeah, that's I think what the. Well, I mean, he does the stunner. Of course, it reminds you of Stone Cold.
Yeah, the whole authority though, and being that thing. I think, you know, I could see him even making his way there, but because like what KO versus Ali, KO versus Buddy, I just don't know. I can see KO versus Buddy, but I think Ali beats Buddy, and Ali and Elias.
You just think Ali versus Elias? See, that's the thing. I just want to pick like all the heels in this for some reason because I will pick Elias as well, obviously, because I feel like Shane will somehow screw Kevin out of it. But then Ali versus Buddy Murphy is the next match, and I would honestly take Buddy Murphy in that match because I think after especially SmackDown last week, I feel like it's like, hey, that best kept secret isn't that much of a secret anymore, especially with Roman giving him props throughout the entire match. Like that's gotta say. Roman's the locker room leader, and good on him for freaking pushing like Buddy Murphy the way that he was. It was pretty solid. But so of course, next up we have Chad Gable versus Shelton Benjamin, which is kind of like the one match that's kind of just like that's kind of strange, but like they're not really like anything right now.
Yeah,
so
putting the tag, tag together.
It doesn't really make
Shorty
sense.
Shorty
G and Shelly B. So, I don't know, like, what do you think? You got Chad Gable or you got Shelton Benjamin? Because personally,
Gable.
I'm going with Gable. Okay. I was going to say, that's like the only babyface besides Cedric Alexander that I'm taking for this entire tournament. It's kind of sad. But, yeah, I've got Chad Gable definitely going over Shelton Benjamin. And, of course, Apollo Crews versus Andrade. We're both agreed on this one. Andrade. And that actually makes sense because we have a heel versus a babyface in the second round for once. But yeah, I feel like for that like first setup of like the first round of the tournament, that's pretty solid. And I feel like all these matches can really like show like how phenomenal these guys are. So let's move on to a little round two.
Yeah, round two. What we would have Cesaro versus McIntyre.
Yeah. I'm
gonna say McIntyre wins it.
See, this is where we differ right here. Yeah. Because I said, of course, that Cesaro wins it. So, do you think that... Well, first of all, this is not on this week's upcoming Raw. This is on next week's Raw.
This will be on New Orleans, the 26th.
Yes. Raw in New Orleans. Honestly, I feel like this could be the absolute best match of the entire tournament. Cesaro versus Drew McIntyre. Like, you look at, like, all of these. Like, obviously, there's all phenomenal wrestlers. But, like... These two guys could really absolutely put on a show.
Andrade and Ali would be good too.
Oh, true.
If that gets there. But
I could see that honestly happening, kind of. If Ali beats Buddy and then Elias, I can see that.
Yeah.
But
so yeah.
You got Cesaro, I got Drew.
Yep.
So we differ on this one. So this is gonna be interesting for the semifinals.
Those are our winners there.
So next up we have Cedric Alexander versus Baron Corbin, and who do you think moves on here? Because they're kind of not really doing anything with Baron right now. So you think it goes Cedric?
I think you're going to see Cedric and McIntyre in the semifinals right there.
I would have to say Cedric versus Cesaro in those semifinals right there. But, yeah, I totally agree with that. Obviously, Cedric's a high flyer. Baron Corbin's more of like the grounded, old-school style of wrestling. So I feel like that could be a definitely interesting matchup. Especially when you think, like... Do they keep on pushing Baron Corbin? Like, do they finally put him back in the picture? It's like, hey, he's like a top heel. Or do they keep on pushing Cedric Alexander? Who knows if they want to or not. But
he's another one they say Heyman is very high on, if you haven't noticed.
I know Triple H was high on him. Do you remember the Cruiserweight Classic?
Yep.
Like, people weren't sure like who was going to get signed to the company or whatever like that. He has his match with Kota Ibushi. And the crowd was just chanting,
that crowd was wild.
Please sign Cedric. And Triple H came out and raised his hand. Like, that wasn't supposed to happen. He just, like, it's so cool. But next up, we got what we think would be Elias. And did you say Ali? Or
Ali.
Okay, so Elias versus Ali.
You got Ali, too?
I have Buddy, but technically Ali would make more sense. So we'll just go with Ali for this one.
All right.
So Elias versus Ali.
Which I wonder, is Elias have this title on him still? Has anyone interfered
I don't
with
think
his
he
doings?
should. Like,
We'll see what happens tomorrow night.
I was gonna say, I feel like he should lose it at some point
Probably lose it Monday.
on Raw before the tournament starts.
Today. Yep.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, Ali definitely has, like, I feel like, because Shane probably won't get involved in this match, and of course this match is coming from Baton Rouge. Is it Baton Rouge? I always
Baton
forget.
Rouge.
Baton Rouge. I always
don't know.
pronounce that wrong.
Whoever's down
I'm not
there.
from NOLA.
That's
But yeah. So definitely, I feel like
Baton Rouge.
Ali can definitely move into the semifinals as the only other babyface in the tournament left.
Yeah.
Then you got Reddy, Willing, and Gable versus Andrade Cien Almas, but he lost his last name for some reason.
It's Flair now.
Yeah, it's Andrade Flair.
Woo!
Woo! But Chad Gable versus Andrade, that's a pretty interesting matchup.
Yeah.
That kind of like
I think you'll get a tease, a hard fight from Gable, but I think you're going to see Andrade move on.
Can I just say this match literally has the makings of like Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. Like that's literally like the style. Only the roles are reversed. Kurt Angle is the babyface, Chad Gable, and the heel Andrade is Rey Mysterio. Like because they definitely have like the same styles, the wrestling style versus like the luchador style. I mean,
Just size, but
yeah, true.
still
true.
in a little
I love
not
Chad
as
Gable.
up. But yeah, no, yeah, a lot of
He's so
a lot
solid,
of people I talked to,
but-
big fans. I liked him more than Jordan
Oh yeah.
back in NXT.
I still love that NXT chant that they did, like their first London show. The crowd was going like just Gable, 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 Jordan, 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 and they just kept on going back and forth, and I was like, like why doesn't anybody else chant this? Like I'm sure that's why they're changing his name because I don't think anyone can chant Chad. But, like come on,
Let's go, Chad.
Chad, let's
Chad.
go. His dad owns this place.
Hey.
But yeah. So definitely Andrade, I feel like, because you got Ali, and I feel like Chad Gable versus Ali would not make it would be a good match, but it wouldn't make storyline sense, like any sense of the way, like those two going against each other. Because at least when it's like heel versus heel, they're more like, hey, we both want to win, we don't care about each other. When it's babyface versus babyface, it's usually more like, oh, we're friends, like we don't want to fight. So I feel like it makes more sense to not do any baby faces going up against any other faces. So now we're in the semis, and you have Drew McIntyre, I have Cesaro, but we both have Cedric Alexander.
right there.
And we both, I'm guessing, agree because we already said who we got. We
Yeah.
kind of buried the lead.
McIntyre moves on.
Cesaro moves
almost
on.
got you.
I almost said it.
Almost said it.
I wouldn't mind McIntyre winning. I
No.
wouldn't mind Scottish King. They just can't make him like what they do every other king, where they give him like the gaudy crown. Like he has to stick with like that metal underground look. Like that's the thing. But
I can see him wearing a gown.
I hope not. Just for like the coronation. After
Well, not a
that,
gown.
you got to change that real quick. But so the semifinals for the SmackDown side.
Or I could, yeah. Yep. Continue. No,
go.
we're right.
Ali
we're-
versus Andrade.
exactly. And I see Andrade winning that. And
Same here.
You know, and like I said, I see McIntyre winning, but I think Andrade just as easily could win it. And
Yeah, I mean,
King Andrade.
when you're with a Flair, you never know what can happen.
Exactly. Now he's the king and she's the queen.
Yeah. That does make sense. I never even thought of it that way. I'm surprised. I honestly thought they were going to do a Queen of the Ring the next time they did like one of those tournaments.
I'm straight with that.
Yeah.
Do that on
When do the next women's
Tuesday
pay-per-view.
night. I don't know. Never. Don't do. You don't need to do it.
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. to see
Yeah,
that.
you know, at
Especially
this
if like
point,
Charlotte won.
At this
just adds
point-
another accolade to herself.
surprising they actually didn't. You know, surprising
yeah.
they didn't.
So we got the final. We
Here
both got
are.
Andrade.
And we are. So,
Mm-hmm.
just to paint the picture. Where's the picture? Scroll me down here.
Oh, I got you.
Here, I got it.
you. So
So here we are.
we're at Clash of Champions.
Raw vs. SmackDown.
Yep.
Clash of Champions.
September 15th.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
And just because it's in Charlotte, North Carolina, And Andrade is in the match.
Does it?
He's gonna lose.
Does anybody else's spidey senses tingling?
I know. I kind of
feel like I made a wrong pick. Looking at this information that's provided for me here.
But let's first talk about the Drew McIntyre versus Andrade.
So here we are. I bet it's probably kicking off the main card of the show.
I mean, that makes kind of sense.
As it should.
Yeah.
Let's get into it before the belts start going. And
then just do all the belt matches after. So let's talk Drew versus Andrade first.
Here we go. What a matchup.
Obviously, we both know who we decided to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously a storyline built up throughout this entire thing. Do you think there's going to be any shenanigans in this match? Like, what do you think is going to go down in this Drew McIntyre versus Andrade match? Think it could be just like a quick, squash? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's funny you say this. They're going to just wrestle. Does this matchup seem... I mean, I think it's the right matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are the right deserving guys to be in there. But, WWE and their gimmickry. But, I think there's a lot of this and that, maybe. But I think McIntyre... Andrade could use this a lot more, maybe,
Yeah, but also McIntyre's been kind of just
dust
sitting
in the
there.
wind.
He's just kind of.
So let's go. But clean finishes. Do I see anybody interfering? No, I would hate.
I'm sure
I would hate to
Zelina
see
Vega
it.
will, but
Up on the ropes. I would hate to see anything. I'm hoping for a great match here too.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see anyone interfering. Clean finish. How? Claymores.
Makes sense.
But it doesn't shock me if Andrade wins this, and it doesn't shock me if it's not against McIntyre, but I can really see Andrade
taking this one, possibly. Even
though North Carolina's suspicious to me.
Just a little bit, too.
It's a little suspicious.
All right, and then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about Cesaro versus Andrade.
Your winner, Cesaro versus Andrade.
Personally, I think that this match will end in a draw, and they'll do a best-of-7 series, just like they did with Sheamus, and they'll end up in a tag team, and they'll be kings of the ring. And I am not being serious in that statement whatsoever, even though that would be hilarious. Just... Actually,
fight again.
Now that I think about it, that actually could be kind of interesting. If they tied and then they did a rematch at a Clash of Champions network special.
Well,
in Saudi Arabia, probably.
Ooh. What I would like to see is not even have it be a single match. I wish it would be a 2 out of 3 falls.
Something special about it.
Yeah.
Just to make it feel different than all.
But it's King of the Ring. It's a single match.
They usually don't do that.
Yeah, it's a single match, and it comes down to the wrestling and technique in these things. And I like it.
Yeah, and that's why I think definitely
you think
Cesaro
over Andrade?
Versus Andrade. Obviously, it'll be a phenomenal match, but I think it should be the main event.
Of Clash of Champions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because I feel like
we got to get the steam behind it, but then they want you to go home with a little something.
I wouldn't,
Kofi
obviously Seth Rollins should be, the co-main, but, I don't know. I feel like that should be, the actual main event of the evening. It should be, I don't know how to put it. It should be the closing thing. Everybody should remember this from this show. And normally you remember the last thing that happens. Everybody remembers, what was it? Survivor Series, Goldberg returns and squashes Brock. Everybody remembers Brock cashing in on Seth after the mixed tag match. The last thing of the pay-per-view is what you remember. And I feel like if you really want to push any of these guys, it should be the absolute last thing on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And if something else happens after the match to kind of set up a feud for Cesaro's first feud as King Cesaro, then, hey, whatever happens, happens. But I feel like it should main event the card.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. But hey, we could both just be totally wrong.
Yeah, we could.
And Ricochet and Samoa Joe could win the first round.
It would be good, though. I wonder how we can do it. Maybe get wish everyone could, love to see everyone comment on this. I think we should get this up there on the gram, too. And I wish... Too bad we're not that advanced of having our own websites and stuff where it was like a March Madness type of tournament we had going on. People, no money, but just kind of, it'd be cool to see who's right and who's wrong out of this. Maybe we can talk to a few people on the Instagram, a couple other
we'll definitely talk
wrestling pages, see if we all could we'll all do like who's bracket or something.
Yeah. See, kind of like a March Madness, exactly. Yeah.
But between all of us, podcasters and grammars.
Sounds good.
That'd be interesting.
We'll definitely.
If you're listening.
Yeah.
Slide in the D. Let's get this going.
Let's get started.
DMs.
Yeah, that was a little awkward, you saying that.
My bad.
But yeah, I definitely think that could be something that we definitely try to look forward to. And obviously this entire thing, hopefully, is a lot
of good matchups.
Thing of the show.
A lot of good matchups.
Yeah.
It really is. Not to reiterate it, but...
All right. Actually, I just want to ask this real quick. What's the matchup out of the first rounders that you're looking forward to the most?
What? Here we are. Ooh, I think you said it. What? Cesaro and Joe. Mm-hmm. But Ali and Murphy.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, that's like the one for SmackDown.
But
like,
I can see Daniel Bryan, someone just beating. I don't know. Maybe not though. Maybe not.
Who knows? Anything can happen in the WWE. I think they tell us that a lot. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy tournament. Hopefully, it's a crazy tournament. I should say it's gonna be good, but how good depends on Paul Heyman and I believe Eric Bischoff if he's really taking control yet. But thank you guys for joining us here today.
Right. Well, you guys, you enjoy Monday Night Raw. Let's see a nice victory from McIntyre.
And Cesaro.
And it will lead up to Cesaro and McIntyre fighting.
The real main event.
But, everyone enjoy Raw and SmackDown this week. You'll hear from us Wednesday night.
Yep.
You'll hear from us Wednesday, okay?
Yeah, not Wednesday night.
I don't know what time zone you're in, but you'll hear from us Wednesday. And, and we just wanted to get this out there for you guys. Maybe give you a little King of the Ring hype to listen to.
Yep. Because we're looking forward to this, so we hope you are too.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
2019, King of the Ring.
Yeah.
Catch you then.
Catch you. See you guys. One love. Thanks very much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe down below to us here on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter @WrestlersPit. One love. See you guys.